Hello, everyone, and welcome to another incredible episode of Empowered Conversations, where I have amazing conversations with extraordinary people who are out in the world doing beautiful things in service to others and all around living their best lives. And that is none other than my guest today, Danielle Ratliff. I've been on her show. Let me tell you guys, she is so fantastically fabulous. And without further ado, I am going to tell you all about her. Danielle takes the stress out of copywriting and marketing so coaches, wellness experts, and conscious entrepreneurs can do what they do best: empowering clients and shining a light for others. She's a creative nerd with a decade of entrepreneurial know-how, 15 years of professional wellness experience, and a BS in public health from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. I used to live in Chapel Hill. What a phenomenal experience. Danielle has compassionately empowered thousands on well-being journeys as an expert contributing writer, holistic wellness radio show host, which I was a guest on, licensed massage therapist, registered dietitian, and mental health advocate. Her heart-centered leadership and intuitive marketing savvy transformed a startup massage practice from a team of 3 therapists to an award-winning practice of 15 therapists serving 11,000 plus clients. The pandemic and burnout led to her bittersweet decision to sell the company in 2020. But everything happens for us, not to us, especially the hard things. She wasn't sure how to turn her passion for writing into a living, and it took a bit to get her bearings. But once she relaxed and created from a space of joy, things fell right into place. Accepting a freelance copy editing gig led to inquiries about copywriting, content development, course launches, and website design. Within a month, she was collaborating with women from different time zones, helping overwhelmed entrepreneurs grow their businesses and minimize their stress. Could we not all use a little bit of that? With words and marketing content they could label as their own, Danielle named the business Joyful Rising, Writing and Marketing, after her fascination with the phoenix, the idea that we can rise from the ashes of pain and suffering. 11 years ago, she drank charcoal, in the back of an ambulance after trauma hijacked her mind. Rape, mental health struggles, divorce, and coming out tested her spirit. Sorry, guys. Today, Danielle is so grateful those challenges served as a catalysts on her path to authenticity and work-life balance. She believes life is a series of divinely orchestrated highs and lows designed to move us closer to love and strengthening our faith in something so much greater than ourselves. Danielle lives in Gastonia, North Carolina with her soon-to-be wife, August. Never mind. I'll keep that on the down low. I'll keep that secret. With her soon-to-be wife, stepson, and 4 fur kids when she isn't creating marketing content or consulting. You can find her meditating, reading, marveling at nature's beauty, or making mostly joyful memories with friends and family. So everybody, drum roll, please, and help me in welcoming Danielle Ratliff.
Hello.
I left the date out because I was like, oh shit, maybe she don't want me to.
It's okay. It's August 20th. It's going to be really small, just us, because it's what it's about. So it's not going to be a big to do.
A big to do for your hearts.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Danielle. It is such an honor to have you here. I'm so happy that you've decided to join me today.
Yes, well, I'm honored to be invited, and it's kind of a turnaround with you being on my radio show, and now me being here, going live with you, and live is something that definitely gets out of my comfort zone. I prefer pre-recorded or pre-written stuff because it just makes me more comfortable. But
Oh, girl, I know.
it's you, and I know that you are a rock star at what you do. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I said yes.
And I am adding you to the Joyful Rising. I'm adding you to
Oh, your Instagram. Hang on.
the Instagram. Okay,
Let me see if
Joyful.
that's coming through. Hang on.
Okay, why is it not? Okay.
Mhm.
Why is it invite to join? Okay, are you on
I'm on
Instagram?
it. Yeah, I'm on
Okay.
it, but it's not popping
Well, you're
up.
following me and I'm following you.
I don't know, girl. Oh, wait, hang
Let's
on. Do it one more time.
Okay.
Something popped up.
Joyful.
Rising.
Joyful Rising.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's not let me see here. We're gonna DA. Yeah, I'm all these people on Instagram are like, what's she talking about? Who's she talking to?
Yeah, okay, hang on.
Danielle Ratliff. Let me try Ratliff.
Try one more time.
Oh, there you are. I had
Got
to
it?
put in Danielle Ratliff. Now, okay, now you should be
Okay,
getting an
invited you to go
invitation.
live, and now okay. See, I've never even done this before, so I learned
Yeah.
something new. Okay. Oh,
There you are, girl.
hang on. It's how do I flip it?
Oh, and now we just got to turn our volumes down on our cameras. I think on the like there should be a flip.
Okay. Excuse us while we figure out our technical.
There you are.
Okay, there we go.
Yay, everybody, here's my guest, Danielle. I was so excited and got so caught up that I was like, oh shit, that's right. I forgot to add her to the stream.
So we're good.
Yay. Again, this is Danielle Ratliff from Joyful Rising, and she is here joining me on Empowered Conversations. For those of you on Instagram, you know, I just read her bio, so you definitely know who she is and what she's all about. So, you know, Danielle, like my first question to my guests, because I really like to get to their core, I like to understand their soul, like their heart-centered why they're doing what they're doing out in the world, you know, in service to others.
Right.
And I know a bit about your story, but what all transpired, or what was an epiphanic moment for you where you were just like, boom, like a fish flop out of water, I want to inspire and empower others?
Well, it was not definitely immediately right after I went through the trauma of the rape.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had to go through my own healing process with that. But I think, within a year or so, I realized that by talking about it, it made a difference for other people, and it actually helped me heal at the same time. I think there's so much shame and silence around that kind of trauma, and just being able to be real with people and discuss it and say, hey, this is what I'm going through. This is how it impacted me up here. Clearly it completely hijacked, my brain for a little while there with the suicide attempt. But that was part of what needed to happen to me, so I could then heal and be strong enough to talk about it and help other people know that they aren't alone in this process.
Right.
And that healing looks different for everybody. If you have gone through something like that and you don't feel comfortable talking about it, that's okay too, but know that there are other people out there who get it and who have been able to overcome it and, really thrive in spite of it. And because of it, my life would not look like what it looks like today if that had not happened to me. So I'm grateful that happened to me, which is a really strange thing to say, but I am grateful that the trauma happened. I would still be practicing as a dietitian if it hadn't been for that. I wouldn't have left that career and switched to massage therapy. And if I hadn't switched to massage therapy, I wouldn't have taken over a practice and become an entrepreneur. And that wouldn't have led to me giving up the practice and transitioning again. So I think everything happens for a reason. And my why is just to help lift and inspire other people, who've been through similar things and who may feel like they're the only ones, but we're never alone. And even if there are no other quote people out there who you think get it, there's something bigger than us out there too. I don't care what word you use to describe it.
Right.
There's something bigger. And if we can all agree on that and try to do our best to just give to others and to inspire others and to share our stories when we feel comfortable, then it just makes the world a better place.
Right, right. Because it's like you said, you're not alone.
Right.
You certainly are not alone. No one is alone in if they've had an experience that was horrific. And the courage that you had to come forward, to share your story, to so what was it about, because you know the suicide attempt was like the bottoming out. What do you feel like transformed from a thought of I'm nothing to no, I am so amazingly powerful and I'm here to help heal the world?
Part of that was talking about my story.
Mhm.
It really was, because then I got the feedback from people that what I'd been through, had a purpose.
Mhm.
It's a way to make sense of something that, nobody should have to go through. Um, there was really no one specific moment where I was like, okay, this is why, but
Yeah.
I just think over time of just sharing and talking with other people and, going public with bits and pieces, that it just made a difference. So, you people, whatever you're going through, like, you're never alone. And that's the message I want to
Right.
send home to people, is that you're not alone in this world. Even if there's not a human out there who you think gets it, there's something bigger out there that will get it. And,
Mhm.
that's the voice that's in our head,
Mhm.
or the light, whatever
Mhm.
words and way you want to describe it. But there is something bigger than us, and we need to remember that.
And furthermore, the journey, like everyone has their own life's journey, and everyone has or people have their own epiphanic experiences at different rates. Just because you had your epiphanic experience through this doesn't mean that somebody else's isn't later down the road. And then some never wind up having that epiphany or that revelation or that realization of how amazing and powerful one actually is and is meant
Mhm.
to be. So what would you say to that aspect of to those who still just settle or never take that chance?
You never know where you're going to end up if you don't take the chance.
Mhm.
I think there's a quote from The Alchemist I shared a few days ago. I'm trying to remember the exact words on it. Something about the fear of failure. Anyways, I can't remember the exact words, but if you look up a quote about dreams, the only thing that'll hold you back from your dreams is the fear of failure. And I
Yeah.
think that's what holds people back, is fear of screwing up, fear of, being judged, or, seen in a way that you don't want to be seen, or just fear of trying and it not working out the way you want. Well, guess what? The times it doesn't work out the way you want, there's a freaking reason for that too.
Right. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
if you just get out there and, keep moving forward and try to find the good in the bad stuff. It's hard to do that sometimes, and
Mhm.
it's a process, and, you're going to be mad and angry and sad, and you might be depressed and, completely overwhelmed for a little while, but it does get better. And sometimes it's just a matter of time, and giving yourself time to heal some of the wounds. But like you said, some people never get to that point. They just stay kind of stagnant, or,
Mhm.
they settle for something in life. And that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that, as long as they're happy there and they're
Mhm.
content there. But if you're wanting something more, if you're wanting to try for something that you're just not sure about, just freaking go for it and see what happens. And even if you do, quote, fail, you learn something. And so
Mhm.
that will be your stepping stone to something else. And so that's the way I've tried to approach life, is, the things that don't go right, and the things and times where we fail, or where we do things that we thought we'd never do, like, taking
Mhm.
a bunch of pills and drink charcoal.
Right.
Um, there's a reason that that happens, and you can learn from it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, and speaking to that, when you talk about the fear of failure, or the fear, like so many people just stay stifled, paralyzed in that fear. And I have been there. I have been there. Like 2 years ago, I had this fear of going live. I mean,
Right
I just,
here.
yeah,
And I'm
huge.
conquering it with you right now. So
Hell to the yeah,
I
girl.
trust
Push
you
it.
and I love you. So.
I love you. I'm telling you, Danielle, because it's like, and this is not to scare anybody off, but there is a level that when if you're not pushing, if you're not growing, if you're not like trying new things. I feel fear constantly. Like I'm about to launch a 12-week cooking class. And there is this fear, but I'm like, no, feel the fear and do it anyway. No,
Right,
this is the next
right.
step. Even if it doesn't, pan out the way in which I'm envisioning, I'm still putting myself out there. I'm still, you continue to put yourself out there, to speak your truth, to share your authenticity. And there is freedom, guys. There is freedom in that, because you start to realize how not a rat's ass you give to anybody or their opinions. Because I love the quote, unless you're in the arena getting your ass kicked, I could give a shit what you think. Don't sit there and tell, but a lot of people, and our family members, family members and friends who do love us, and they want to see us succeed and feel fulfilled and happy. But when you start thinking outside of the box, or you start doing something that's out of alignment of their box, they're like, don't do that. I'm like, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if this doesn't work out? What if that were to occur? It's like, okay, you can stay in that box, but I'm going to keep it expanding.
Yeah.
And yeah, the freedom, and then it empowers you, because the more you can, okay, so we're here, okay, people can't hear you on Instagram.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
We're gonna try and fix that. Thank you, the lopsided crafter. Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me now on Instagram?
Can you hear her now on Instagram? I know people can hear you through Facebook.
I'm not sure why
I apologize, guys.
Yeah, sorry. Let's see.
Technology
Yeah,
of
I have the
2022.
volume on. I don't know why.
No, she says no. Oh no,
Okay.
hold on.
It's
How about now?
something.
Can you hear her now?
Can you hear me?
Well, they're saying
Lopsided crafter, can we hear me?
I love your name, the lopsided
Yeah,
crafter.
it's fun.
You sound like somebody who needs to be on Empowered Conversations.
Yeah.
Thank you. We got some comments. John Corbellini says, hello, ladies. Camille Tyler says, hello, ladies. Hello, everybody, and welcome. Thank you. John says, love this conversation. I was having a conversation. It's always empowering with John. We were talking yesterday. Now, I know there's an echo. Yes. Nope. Muffled. She says muffled.
Okay.
Doggone it. Maybe we should just stop the Instagram.
Yeah, we'll stop.
That is sad.
One.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Okay.
I'm just going to quit the live on Instagram. So sorry. The lopsider. Follow us both, and we'll follow you. All right. And now. So anyway, but yeah, just speaking of that fear, you've heard the quote, feel the fear and do it anyway. Nobody who's achieved anything great, and I love to use people like Oprah as an example, or Tony Robbins as an example, or God, there's thousands, probably millions of gurus, or who have achieved, in my mind, a level of success that is in awe. But trust you me, they have failed over and over, or been rejected over and over. When you put yourself out here like what we're doing in this realm, people are going to talk shit about you. People are going to write ugly, nasty comments. People, and you have to be so empowered and know and confident in who you are, that that negative energy, and again, the ugliness comes from their own lack of understanding of their own worth and value.
Yeah,
Because
I think anytime ugliness presents itself, it's just a projection of what is on the inside of them, or what you are triggering in them. It's not necessarily a personal thing, and that's a hard lesson to learn. I've dealt with quite a bit of that lately, but it's just letting go of, like you said, of not giving a crap about other people's opinions,
Right.
and doing you. I spent way too much of my life trying to be what I thought other people wanted me to be, and it made me miserable. And, it's not until you start letting go of trying to please everybody else that you can be fully authentic or more authentic, with the world. And at that point, you take the criticism, with all the good stuff that comes along with it too. And sometimes you just have to cut cords, in certain situations and walk away from things.
Yeah, absolutely. And, and to that point, when you do put yourself out there authentically, you do face the rejection or the judgment of others or losing people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's their journey.
Mm-hmm.
That's none of your, like, what they think of you is none of your business, and in essence, but it still can hurt,
Mm-hmm.
especially if it's a really, someone that you hold dear in your heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 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 Sometimes it's family, and,
Mhm.
sometimes the relationships have to change, in order for both of you to be who you are, and when you can't come to an agreement, around things because they don't agree with certain aspects of your life, then there's only so much, criticism you can continually take. And so at certain points, you just have to say enough's enough and walk away. So I had to do that with some family members this year, but
Mhm.
I knew, when I came out that that was a possibility, and it took a few years for, it to finally crest to the point that it has. But yeah, I've just had to walk away, from certain family relationships, which is sad and it breaks my heart. But, I'm here if things ever change and they come around and, have a different viewpoint on, my, what they perceive as my choice of, being gay. It's not a choice. This is
Right.
who I am. I just did a really freaking good job of hiding it for most of my life because I knew it was going to be hard.
Yeah.
But I am happy now. And
Yeah.
that's the important thing, is that we find the things that bring us joy, and we go for those, even if other people don't agree. So
Mhm.
being, like you said, being authentic,
Mhm.
some people will love it. Some people aren't going to dig it, and they're going to have stuff to say about it. But we have to have thick skin and let it go, and know that it's not necessarily about who we are as a person, and it's just
Yeah.
an opinion.
And again, that goes back to their own lack of understanding of them own selves, their own
Mhm.
lack of self-awareness.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just it's triggering something,
Mhm.
in them, and,
Yeah.
that's okay, and their belief system is very different, so it's different from mine. Not that there's anything wrong with their belief system, but that's they're entitled to that. And I
Right.
still love them, but
Absolutely.
yeah, things just had to change.
Well, to that point, talking about how you felt this way all your life, but you were really good at hiding it. When I mean, even when I was young, I don't know if it was maybe kid or maybe a little bit into my teenage years, but I remember when I first started hearing that, that concept that being gay was a
Mhm.
choice.
Mhm.
And it's not, no, you're not born that way. And I'm like, well, hold on a second. Okay. And it's intuitively like this immediately came to my mind. What does in the closet mean? What is it? Okay. It means that you are having these feelings that you can't control, these feelings that not everybody has.
Right.
And you're hiding in the closet because you're scared because of what the society and the world, who's been conditioned and hypnotized to believe wrong and dirty and whatever
Mhm.
bullshit so you're having these feelings and you're thinking, what am I wrong? Am I dirty? I can't help these feelings.
Mhm.
Nobody would choose that.
Right.
Nobody would fucking choose that. That's what in the closet means.
Right. Yeah.
Like, so how can you go, oh, it's not a choice? Clearly, it certainly, I mean, or oh, it is a choice. Where that I said that wrong. Clearly, it's not.
Right. Right. Yeah. It's just the way we're wired, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And luckily, the world is coming around to it more, and it's more accepted now than what it was years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But there are still people who think that way.
Oh, yeah.
And there will probably always be. And
Mm-hmm.
that's just part of, not the burden, but it's part of what the LGBTQ community has to go through. And that's just what we deal with. But it's worth it to be able to be who we are and to be open about it.
Yeah. And that community, is an empowerment powerhouse in and of itself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just, yeah. And I was going to say, there was something else I was going to say is when you're talking about, like, when you're being your authentic self and you're truly standing in your power, what then you're giving others the license to receive and be themselves.
Yeah. It's not that anybody needs permission to be themselves, but I think the more people who are themselves and who are authentic, then that opens the door for other people to say, hey, okay, if this person can do this, if this person can, show who they really are, then maybe I can too. And so it's kind of a ripple effect of,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you being who you are, you're reaching a certain number of people in your day-to-day interactions and through things like this. And by you being open and authentic, you are empowering a ton of people, just as me being open and authentic is doing good for people too, even though it's
Mm-hmm.
hard sometimes, but that's why we do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you a question. So you went from being a nutrition, like you're a certified dietitian.
Mm-hmm.
And so did you find that that wasn't a fulfilling career? Because you talk about leaving that and going into massage
Yeah,
therapy.
well, it wasn't that it wasn't fulfilling. I started out in the hospital setting, on the surgical floor, doing mostly like calculating tube feedings and stuff like that. I did that for a short period of time and then transitioned to a weight management center. So I was doing counseling, meal planning, stuff like that, a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy. And so it wasn't that it wasn't fulfilling. It was just when I had the trauma of the rape, I could not handle counseling other people because naturally while it was not necessarily about food, sometimes they would share reasons for why they would overeat. And food
Mhm.
is an addiction at that point, or can be. And so they have their own struggles and their own stuff that they're processing. And I just was not in a space to be able to help them, fix that nutrition part of their life, but was also up here. And of
Right.
course, there were psychologists on staff, and that's who they're supposed to be talking to about that kind of stuff. But people just naturally open up to me for some reason. And so it's a great thing. But at that point in my life, I couldn't handle it anymore. And I had my own struggles with food too.
Mhm.
That was why I went into the field, because I was trying to fix myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was why I was super interested in it. So I just could not handle all of that at the same time. So that was what led to me switching, me taking a step back and going to a field where I thought it would be a situation where I could help somebody feel better right away, with massage. Whereas with nutrition, you're working through all the stuff up here and changing all the habits, and it's a
Yes.
long-term process. And so it's still in the wellness realm, but I wanted something where it was more of an immediate gratification, immediate fix, for people.
Absolutely. And to that point about, like, when you do this, it is all about mindset. And there is, it does, as a health coach, that's what I do,
Mhm.
is I help people rework and rewire their brains to then make these better choices and make them habit. It's not
Mhm.
about losing 30 pounds, to
Right.
go to a wedding and then, oh, well, I'm going to go back because, and I love this. I don't know if you know who Carol Boston is. You must
Yeah.
follow her.
I'll follow
Carol
her. Yeah.
Boston. Huh? You do?
I'll follow her. I haven't heard of
Okay.
her, but I'm sure if you like her, she's probably phenomenal.
She really is. She's an outstanding human being. And the other day, she was reading out of a book, and I don't remember whose book it was, but talked about, and think about this, guys. We have the money, like for instance, like a weight loss journey. We always have money to do it over and over and over and over again, but we never have the money to do it right the first time.
Mhm.
That's why all these weight loss, Jenny Craig, Weight Watchers, all, it's all about doing something instead of working here.
Right.
Because once you get this, you know, right per se, all of a sudden what you're doing here becomes easy. It
Yeah.
becomes second nature.
Yeah. And if you could rewire the brain, then all those businesses would be out of business
Exactly.
because they don't have the repeat people, because it's not
Right.
just a quick fix, diet. And well, in my opinion, that's what's wrong with the diet culture and the way things are marketed to people these days.
Hmm.
It's just more about a quick fix instead of addressing the mindset stuff. And that's where the true long-term solutions are.
Absolutely. Because it's, and that's with anything, with whether
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
your mindset, with there's a set of, like, a program that's running subconsciously. And
Mhm.
because I do subliminal videos, subliminal reprogramming, guided visualizations, guided meditations quite often, because I'm constantly trying to rework or rewire anything that possibly could be blocking me and
Mhm.
and triggering me, in a fearful state or whatever, is happening, so that I can keep putting myself out here. And but again, there just has to be an epiphany in your life. And one of my favorite sayings is, one day I woke up and decided I didn't want to feel like that ever again, so I just stopped.
Yeah. And it's fabulous when it's that simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you finally do make that decision. Yeah, I mean, for me, I think my epiphanies have been more little things over time that build. We go into the day and you just try to do better this day than you did the day before, with shifting the mindset, and with
Mhm.
being kind and loving to yourself when you screw up or things don't go exactly the way you plan. Because if you can shift
Yes.
it up here and in the subconscious, which is, I mean, but conscious mind, subconscious mind, it's like the
Yes.
iceberg
Yes.
visual, if you've ever seen that. So
Yeah,
there's
the
so much
iceberg.
that we're not aware of. What we're thinking, is kind of programmed like a computer in a way. And
Mhm.
so much of it is underneath the surface. And that's that subconscious, that you're referencing. And that's where the magic happens, I think.
Absolutely. And, share with everyone some of your self-love practices.
Meditation's a big one. Nature is my hugest one. Nature just makes me feel so much more grounded and centered. So if I'm having a rough time, then I'm going to go down to the nature trail and sit by the pond and see if I can make some turtle friends or whatever wildlife is out there. But nature has just always been a calming influence on my life, and my fur babies too. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
something about animals and nature that just really does it for me. But
Yeah.
besides that, reading's big, journaling. Haven't done a whole lot of that lately. Probably need to get back into it. But writing stuff down, it really helps me a lot. And
Mhm.
then if I'm just having a really emotional day, I just let myself feel the emotions now. I don't try to hold them back. So I'll go up to
Right.
the bedroom, throw a pillow over my face and scream, if I need to. So, the whole
Yeah.
neighborhood doesn't need to hear me, but or the house doesn't need to hear me. But, you know, just being able to express those emotions instead of shoving them down and pretending they're not there. Cause that's what I did for so long,
Mhm.
in different forms, whether it was, you know, food related addictions or workaholism. And that was definitely an addiction I had. And that's partially why the massage practice was as successful as it was, because I was a workaholic, 60 to 80 hours a week for 8 years. And it was me running from some of the unhealed trauma stuff. And I didn't really work through all of it until the past 2 years, being away from the practice and, refiguring out what I want to do with my life and, coming up with this new business model. But workaholism was definitely an escape mechanism for me. I see that now. I didn't see it at the time, but hindsight's 2020 sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and in 2020, that's when hindsight's 2020, and then 2020
Mhm.
is when
Yeah.
you sold,
Yeah, I
the
sold. Yeah, I sold it, but I was willing to walk away from it with nothing. I I announced I was going to shut it down because I didn't think I'd be able to find, a buyer in time. And as soon as I made the announcement, within a month, I had buyers come to me, and new owners who were interested, in it. So I was able to sell it, but I was at the point where I was so frustrated and burned out from, 8 years of crazy work hours and so much
Mhm.
stress, and the pandemic, that was the catalyst for it. I mean, I
Right.
lost almost half my team because some weren't, comfortable massaging anymore. And I get
Right.
it. I understand
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
We were shut down for 3 months. I kept us shut down longer. And because I was trying to do the right thing, and, what are you supposed to do in the middle of a pandemic? Is it
Right.
people's health, or is it, livelihood? It was just so many hard decisions in that year. By the end of 2020, I was just done. And
Yeah.
had made that decision that, okay, I'm either closing or I'm selling it, but one way or the other by 2021, I'm not going to have all of this weight on my shoulders anymore.
Right.
And so
And
I was blessed that
yeah.
I had people who were, saw the potential, not potential, but saw what it had been and what it could continue to be.
Mhm.
Someone nurtured it, and they were able to take it over, and I passed the torch. And it was hard as hell because it was my baby, and it had been,
Yeah.
most of my life was wrapped up around that business, for 8 years. I didn't really have a huge personal life outside of that, that was happy or healthy. And that was the majority of my identity during that time frame. And
Mhm.
afterwards too, I felt really lost for a while. So like, who am I without this? But I'm grateful that things happened the way they did, because I probably wouldn't have let it go if it hadn't been for the pandemic. I would have kept trucking
Right.
along. But that was the catalyst for that transition.
I literally was about to say that the pandemic was really a
Mhm.
catalyst for a lot, for a
Mhm.
lot of people's
Mhm.
lives. I think even whether you're willing to admit it or not, like what came about in your life, whether it was you were to release something from your life or to
Mhm.
bring more of something into your life.
Right. Right.
I mean, Empowered Conversations was birthed towards the end of the pandemic of 2020,
Mhm.
and I think it lasted into 2021 a little bit, but, you know, it was, we were all given the opportunity, the entire world collectively was given the opportunity to slow down
Mhm. Yeah.
and just kinda evaluate. Like, you had time to think, you had time to realize what's important in your life, or
Mhm.
new inspiration, for new ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. It really made me think about what was important to me in life. And I didn't want to spend any more time being overwhelmed and stressed out by, something that was no longer the majority of the time a source of joy for me anymore. And,
Mhm.
and that sounds selfish, but for so long I stuck with it for the people, who worked with me, for the clients, because I loved all of them.
Yeah.
That was why I did it. But I knew that my body and mind were starting to break down again, and I just could not let that get to that point. So the pandemic did present all of us with opportunities to reassess things, and I'm grateful that it happened the way it did. even though
Absolutely.
there's some really sad stuff that happened with it too, you know?
And that's a prime example. That's a prime example of something that is seemingly a negative,
Hmm.
through the eyes or the lens of sickness, but what that enabled,
Right.
that came good. Like we were talking earlier about, through your trauma blossomed something. And again, that's a choosing to look at it that way, because there are so many people that are like, the pandemic's the worst thing that ever happened. And again, and it's a mindset.
Hmm.
It's a mindset. And one of my guests I was speaking to recently, Marco Governale, talks about that, like the reality, like the concept of perception. Things aren't happening out here independent of what's going on in here, and it's your perception that creates what's actually
Hmm.
happening out here,
Yeah. Yeah.
not the opposite. Things are, like you said, things aren't happening to you, they're happening for and through
Mhm.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think our mindset and the way we view things does impact what shows up in our reality.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Law of
definitely
attraction.
believe that now. 15 years ago, I would have said that's a load of woo woo crap, because
Yeah.
I was in a different place then. But
Yeah.
I've seen it, I've seen it happen in my life and in other people's lives. When we calm the F down and create more from a space of joy and love, things just line up in ways
Yeah.
that we couldn't have made them line up if we, had a 100-point to-do checklist, and tried to
Exactly.
force something to happen. I love some to-do lists and checklists.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the stuff, the guy, or woman, or universe, or consciousness, or whatever you want to call it, that's bigger than us, that is what's really in control. But we, I think, are co-creating with that bigger force through our perception and through the way we see things. And some
I
people
like.
are just going to say we're crazy,
Right.
for thinking that way. But I've just seen it happen, and so I believe that. And if you don't believe that, that's okay.
Right. Yeah, I like the term, that the force,
Mhm.
because it's like I feel like our consciousness is connected to all things.
Mhm.
That is the force. That is God, goddess, universe, energy, source, um, highest vibration, light, whatever you want to call it. It's everything is interconnected. And when your consciousness can perceive this way or can perceive that way. Either way, you're right. Whether you think you can or whether you think you can't,
Mhm.
either way, you're
Mhm.
right.
Yeah, look at the placebo effect.
Hmm.
30% of all research, in every single research study, you see that placebo effect where you give somebody a pill that's a sugar pill or
Hmm.
nothing actually in it, and they get better. That's proof that our minds are powerful. It's there, if
Hmm.
we will look at it and see it for what it is. So our minds are creating things. Hopefully, I don't know, 20, 30 years from now, maybe that will be a common belief. But I think it's getting there. It's trending that way.
100%. And that's what we're doing, is planting seeds.
Hmm.
Some of the things that I really feel and want in existence at this present time are unrealistic based upon the current culture for it to
Right.
happen at
Right.
this period in time. But my thinking and wanting and planting seeds enables that to be a reality in the future.
Hmm.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
Hmm.
Um, And God, there's as you're talking, I have like all these questions, then I forget my question. But I want to talk about your radio show. I was a guest on your radio show. That was so much. You remember? Oh my God, girl! You remember? I get real excited, y'all.
Yeah.
I know that's hard to believe. Like
Yeah.
this
Yeah. Your hands were going everywhere.
I was like, I was banking like you had a sound girl back there,
Yes,
and
because
I was doing
you were banging on the table, and
like I'm like
she's trying to signal you without
because you could hear it.
interrupting.
Yeah. God. Yeah. I'm very easily
That was fun
excitable.
though.
So yeah, tell me about the radio show. Like how did that come about? And
So, yeah, the radio show was with WSIC News based out of Statesville, but they approached me about, hosting, would I be interested in hosting a show? So, It was Serenity Now, Holistic Approaches to Health and Happiness. I think, yeah, something like that was the title of it. But I would have different guests on who were in either the wellness realm or, coaches or local nonprofits. And I would just interview different people, each week. Did it for like 9 months. It was weekly, and it was pre-recorded, but and not live. But the funny thing is, they never really edited anything out, so that was kind of neat. Is that we pre-recorded stuff, but then it really was, just as we said stuff, it just came out.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun, and I was not able to do it long term just because of the time commitment. I mean, that was
and then driving all the way to Statesville.
Yeah. On top of, all the stuff with the massage practice, it was just too much, but I loved it and it was fun. And one of those things that got me out of my comfort zones. I was scared every single time I recorded, but it turned out fine. So you just have to keep doing stuff you're scared of.
Absolutely. And that, like, your resume is just like overwhelmingly just amazing. You know what I mean? Like, all that you have been a part of and done and created, and it's just, it's amazing. And that being, one of those things. And, I remember, like I said, I remember being on your show, and I remember your elation the day I showed up. Like, you just were purely elated. But I get when you're talking about the fear that you feel, like, I would have never known that you were nervous or that you were like,
oh yeah,
yeah,
every single time.
yeah. And it's the same before I do an Empowered Conversations or before I do an episode of DEFA Rick and Licious. I'm like, I can be a basket case because I'm so focused, because I care. I give such a huge shit about this, about what I'm doing, and the power that I want it to be in others' lives, for them to receive. And and that, it's like, but I show up, I just show up. But yeah, y'all, I mean, but you don't have to do big things like this. I mean, just anything that like, any desire, any heart, anything where anything that would bring you happiness or joy or elate you or light your heart on fire. Do it. Just do it. Oh, but my mama might say this, or oh, my best friend might say this, or oh, this person might judge. Try the freedom. Oh, the freedom that you experience in not caring what other people think. I mean, you care, but you don't, because again, there is the energy of hurt.
Yes. And there's always going to be the hurt when there's the criticism, but it's, you care, but you don't let it impact your decisions or how you respond. It's not going to change what you do and the actions and the things that you say. It's not going to change that. It can still hurt, and you can, process it and do your best to let it go, but you just have to not let that be the deciding factor.
I remember that's one thing I wanted to touch on earlier when you were talking about some of your self-care, self-love practices. And I've been there before as well, when you were talking about, like, not wanting to feel the negative emotions, the pain or the hurtful emotions. Like, if you feel like last month, this is really, I follow the lunar cycle. And right now we're in new moon, and next week we'll be in waxing. It's action, taking action. Right now we're setting goals, or not necessarily setting goals, but we're just setting our intentions. Or it's more, like, I've been writing, I've been doing my spring forward into fabulous play sheet that I've got, magnetized to my refrigerator. Everybody can download their copy for free on my website. Anyway, and today it was like, write 10 things that are awesome about your life. So I'm over there in my sacred space in the mornings, and that's how I spend the first bit of my day, and I'm writing, and it wound up being wound up being 16 things that are, and I could have sat there for longer, but what that does, y'all, that's a self-love practice, to realize, like, what is so, yesterday it was like, write 10 things that you love about yourself. The first day was write 10 things that you're grateful for. When you're doing these things, that's a self-love practice. It's amazing the how energy all of a sudden feels lighter. But what I was saying is, the past 2 months, I've been experiencing anger and depression. like just, like being just kind of overall sad. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like what's, but I'm like, no, Stephanie, this is you. Cause I'm always, y'all, I'm always doing healing work. Like when I say I do these daily, like visualizations and kaleidoscope meditations and, but what that does is, and I've shared this before, we are constantly inundated everywhere you turn with things that could be deemed toxic or
Mhm.
negative
Yeah.
and or heavy and energy, and so we have to constantly like cleanse, and that's can sometimes bring about the feeling of depression, sadness,
Mhm.
anger. Because I was like, I was like, you Stephanie, so I wanted to make sure I controlled that and didn't like react in any situation then dealing with people,
Right. Yeah, because you
where
don't
they're
want to
like, well,
project it onto
what
someone
the,
else
and my
unintentionally.
brother is
Yeah.
calling me. Um, but he's just gonna have to be sent to voicemail. Um, no. Oh yeah, I gotta tell you a funny story. So my brother Will is the most hilarious person on the planet. He's one of my favorite people on the planet, and I have this weird way in which I say people's names. I call people Big Honkin' Goob. Everybody knows that. Well, his name for the longest time has been Will the Spill. Where I come up with that, I don't know. It's just weird. I'm a weirdo. Well, one day I'm driving to Kentucky to participate in this land sale. And I always call him because I mean, we'll get on the phone. He'll just make me laugh. And anyway, he answers the phone. He goes, so like, what are you doing? Are you driving and you're bored and you're just like, I'm scrolling through my names and I'm going through the W's and what an asshole, I'm like screaming. I'm about to wreck my car laughing because I can barely breathe. You know how like when you're laughing so hard and it's like silent laughter, it sounds like a helicopter. So I changed his name from Will the Spill to What an Asshole. Yeah, y'all, I'm telling you. Um, but anyway, back to that, just, I was having to be consciously aware when I was dealing because little things that wouldn't typically annoy me were pissing me off. And I'm like, I don't, because again, making sure that I didn't react to something because it was not about them or what they were doing, but
Right.
somehow at this point in time, I was being triggered and, just to keep that in check. But then, like you said, like, you know, go scream at a pillow, bang a pillow, or just sit and process.
Yeah, yeah, you have to sit and process or just let it out. And sometimes it's going to get projected onto other people.
Yeah.
I mean, that just happens, and you apologize after. And say,
Yeah.
sorry, this is not about you. It's
Yeah.
me.
Usually it's Tyler.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's me. I'm angry, or God, I'm hangry.
Oh
You
God.
don't want to get around me when I'm angry. It's not
Me
pretty.
either. Holy cow. Me either. That is so funny. Um, so there was another thing. Oh yeah, I want to talk about your freelance, like the writing, the
Oh
copywriting
yeah,
that you're
yeah.
doing. That's so interesting. Yes, please.
So yeah, the business now, it's all about me helping other conscious entrepreneurs kind of find their voice and be authentic with the world. I do a lot of copywriting or ghostwriting. So if you have websites or email campaigns that you need help with, or social media captions, posts, visuals, graphics, like all the nerdy stuff, that's what I do. Some people I help them with like one project and then that's kind of it. And others I help them on an ongoing basis, whether it's a retainer type situation or just knowing that, okay, we're going to work together for a few hours this month. And those are really the clients that I love working with because you really get to know them and understand their business model even better. And we just collaborate, throw ideas back and forth and brainstorm, and it's a lot of fun. I see it as being a way to help other conscious entrepreneurs get their voice out there and reach more people. And my name doesn't have to be behind it. They get to claim all the content for their own. So that's the cool part. I'm just kind of behind the scenes with most of my people. Some are cool with sharing, saying, hey, yeah, we collaborate together and we work on stuff together. But others, it's a situation where I'm not necessarily known, as a person who's writing all the stuff and who's creating the stuff. So it's fun though.
So, like for instance, if somebody has created an online course, or like I'm about to um, start this online cooking class in
Mhm.
June. And, my buddy John Corbellini and I were going back and forth with some ideas, for it. And I'm
Mhm.
like, so that would be that, would that
Yeah,
be
that's
in?
the kind of stuff that I do. Yeah, I even, build course websites, like for people who have membership sites. I, get
Mhm.
in on the back end and get all the automations right, or as right as they can be, to make sure that, you have a website that works the way that you want it to, and that says the things that you want it to say, and that shows your
Right.
heart. So yeah, I do the words and, the nerdy stuff too.
How did you learn to do all
Just by
this?
doing it for Serenity Now, for the massage practice. So I'm self-taught,
Oh,
with most of it.
nice.
I've taken, a few like online course type things, but most of it is just learning by doing. I had
Yeah.
a great website design mentor, Tammy Murphy, with Barney Stone Marketing and Design, and she had built the site for my massage practice and maintained it for a long time. But then I started taking over maintaining it, and just emailing her questions. And she's been awesome over the years, and we're still close and work together on stuff. But yeah, it's learn by doing. I don't think you necessarily have to have a degree in something to know what you're doing with it. I think the
Mhm.
experience is
Mhm.
of actually doing it is what makes a difference.
Absolutely, 100%. I mean,
Mhm.
I can say that about my whole entire health and wellness and personal growth journey. Since I was in my 20s, it's just something I've done,
Mhm.
and it's like, okay, well, Stephanie, you know, let's map this out. How is it that you help your clients? I'm like,
Right.
well, I'm a walking, talking billboard
Yeah.
of what I do and how I help my clients.
Mhm.
But again, it's mindset and heart set. Your mindset
Right.
and heart set need to be in alignment with what you want,
Right.
with what you really truly want, which is better health, increased energy,
Mhm.
longevity, feel sexy, look sexy, whatever your want, whatever your heart centered desire. It's tie that to, tie your why, and it'll,
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, and then be in the right headspace to attract the right situations for you, and
yes,
put out the energy you want to put out, and that's what you'll receive a lot of the time. Now, it doesn't always work that way, but
right.
that that's been my experience. If you put out more joyful, calm, confident, happy type energy, then stuff just shows up. Of course, you've laid the groundwork with all the work you've done,
Hmm.
and the hustle. But I don't think you have to hustle 24/7 to have a successful business, or whatever you're looking for or trying to achieve, whether it's health. You just have to be in the right mindset, and then things naturally line up better.
And they do, and they line up when in the right timing.
Mhm.
When I was with IIN, there was a speaker, Gabby Bernstein. I'm sure you know who
Oh
Gabby
yeah.
Bernstein is. And she was, she was the speaker for the particular session
Mhm.
with the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and she was talking about her aching desire to want to be on Oprah for the
Mhm.
longest time. I want to be on Oprah. I want to be on Oprah. Kept not happening. Kept not happening. Kept not happening. Kept not happening. And then all of a sudden, one day she gets the call from, Oprah's team. Oprah would like to have you on her show. And she says, had it happened any moment before when it did, it would not have been the magnanimity
Mhm.
in my life, or of what it was and what it is.
Right.
And it's the same with you and I talking right now. I've been thinking about you coming on almost since I started Empowered Conversations, because of what Empowered Conversations is. And you are the epitome of someone who I wanted to have a conversation with, with my audience. And I remember, thinking about you from time to time. And then, I saw a post,
Mhm.
and I'm just like, oh my God, I just got cold chills. Like that was the sign. Okay. Now, and here you are.
Yeah, yeah. If things work out the way they're supposed to.
What is it in Wedding Crashers when she runs up and she's like, here I am. Oh, Gloria, I was just singing your praises. Oh my God. Well, this has been an empowered conversation for
For
show.
sure.
Y'all, I have got every which way but loose, um, you know, posted in a as to that I can't even talk to get a hold of Danielle. And like I think I'm going to reach out to you
Do it,
about like some
girl. I'll be
helping me
happy
with
to
some
help.
marketing.
Yes, so collaborate on some stuff.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm serious. Because I'm ready. I'm getting some things situated with the actual link, and
Yeah.
then because I put it out there. Okay, y'all, I'm teaching a cooking class. It starts in June, but I haven't shared a link or anything.
Right.
So,
Right.
but
Because
yeah,
it's the build is in progress.
very much so.
But it'll be
Yes.
ready by June.
Oh God, yeah, it'll be ready. It'll be ready soon. Um, this is. I'm just trying to think. There was so much. I hope I covered because I'll get off and I'm like, oh man, I meant to ask her
That's
this. Oh man,
okay.
I wanted her to talk about this. Oh man, um, I am so excited for you, uh, and everything that you're doing, and your marriage, and it's
Thank you.
like yes, it's like yeah, just so excited.
Everything's coming together.
Yes, it is. And I did want to mention how we met. We met through Jennifer Hurwitz.
Mhm.
She used to doing divorce right podcast in which I was a guest, and then she now does doing relationships right
Okay.
podcast, which is a phenomenal.
That's good. Good switch.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And Jennifer introduced. She's like, "Oh my God, you got to meet Danielle," and I think she said, "Oh my God, you got to meet Stephanie." And you and I
Yep.
met at Kava at
Yep. Yep.
Birkdale and
Yep.
had some amazing food
Yep. One of my
together.
favorite places in Lake Norman to
Yeah.
eat. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, that's so delicious. So good. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining Empowered Conversations. I do apologize about the Instagram snafu.
It's okay. Tech doesn't
Yeah,
always work the way we think it is. It's
exactly,
okay. All
exactly.
right. So,
Those people will just have to come over to Facebook and follow me and follow you.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's been a joy chatting with you, and thank you for making me feel comfy going live. So I survived, people. I made it.
Yeah,
So,
holy cow,
so get
she's
out
still
there and
here.
do something you're afraid of. You'll surprise yourself.
Yeah, she didn't combust. I was like spontaneously combust.
No.
Yeah, guys. So yeah, reach out to Danielle. She is a wealth of knowledge, information, even so much more magnanimous than anything that she shared today. She really is just an expert at so much.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and if you're
Yeah.
wanting to find me, you can go to joyfulrisingwriting.com. So Joyful Rising Writing, all my contact stuff is there. Instagram, it's Joyful Rising, and Facebook, it's Joyful Rising Writing and Marketing.
Can you put that in a comment?
Yeah, yeah.
If I
It's
do,
hard
it
to
goes to
figure out.
YouTube and then it's lost.
Okay,
I
let me
know I
figure
have
out how
it
to do it.
in the description, like all the links.
I
Joyful
don't know
Rising.
if it will let me do a comment. Chat with everyone.
John, if you're still on, or if anybody, whoever's still on, could you write in the comments joyfulrisingwriting.com? Or we can go back after the broadcast and
Yeah,
hit it, and
it's
there'll be a
fine.
link.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be in there. It'll be fine. Don't worry.
Yeah. Well, you stay right there. I'm going to say goodbye to
Okay.
everybody. Everybody, thank you so much for joining. Whoop,
Thank
whoop.
you.
Till next week, have a phenomenal frickin' week.